This is the Thompson Cast. I am Mel Thompson. The good news is that the European Central Bank may finally act soon and start buying bonds of the debt-plagued governments that encompass the 17-nation Eurozone. The president of the bank, Mario Draghi, has told many lawmakers in Europe that buying government securities would be something that they would strongly consider, considering the situation that the European Union now finds itself in as it relates to Greece, Spain, and other countries on the cusp of imploding from their own public debt. This is something, in my opinion, that should not even be necessary if, in fact, the European Union, over the objections of German Chancellor Angela Merkel, would just create Euro bonds. Something that she has said will only happen over her dead body. It is now becoming incredibly clear to me that these so-called leaders have no responsibility when it comes to their concerns that a lack of a Euro bond would make a difference. They have concerns, but they don't act on those concerns. I am certain that even Angela Merkel realizes that this is something that should have happened a long time ago, and at some point it actually must happen if the Eurozone is to stay the Eurozone. These small actions, such as the debt buying, do help, and they actually stimulate the economies of these countries in a very limited way. It eases speculation and the prospect of contagion. However, this is not a long-term solution. I do, in fact, sympathize and understand why Germany and other countries don't want to go deeper into debt when you have such incredibly structural problems in Spain and Greece. However, to be perfectly blunt, you got yourself into this mess, and you cannot continue to take piecemeal actions to keep things afloat, yet not getting out of the mess. Direct foreign investors must look at the full picture, the totality of the situation, including policies. And in my opinion, the policies are absolutely wrong for what the future is going to hold long-term for the Eurozone. These piecemeal actions are not going to work. Something must be done. What must be done is the issuance of Eurobonds. Now, several European leaders are going back and forth between different countries, and they are talking to the president of the bank and each other. And, of course, this looks good. Moody's Investors and other rating agencies, they look at this action, this activity, and foreign direct investors look at this action activity, and they see that these leaders are trying to be proactive. My view is this. The bottom line is the bottom line, and the bottom line is this is going to continue as a flood of money is bleeding from the economies of these countries, as long as you have in place no centralized bond system for the European Union. Once again, this is all going to continue. This is not going to stop. Something must be done to stop this. You don't attack a cut with a little dab here and a little dab there. You apply direct pressure to stop the bleeding. The shuttling back and forth in these discussions looks good. It's great political theater, but foreign direct investors and businesses need to look at this in the totality of the situation and for the long term. And in my opinion, it looks absolutely horrendous. You cannot rely on political theater when you have structural defects in your banking system and no way to stop the flow of money being bled from a system through the issuance of some type of universal bond system, which does not exist currently. Now, the other long-term outlook is how much stock do you put in rating systems? Do you trust them? Do you not trust them? Everything that's data related, I feel, has a purpose. It also has some value. And on Monday this week, Moody's lowered its rating outlook for the European Union from stable to negative. I don't doubt that this had a logical set of numbers behind this conclusion. Now, Moody's, as you know, is a credit rating agency, and they said basically that the negative outlook on the EU's long-term rating reflects the negative outlook for Germany, France, Britain, and the Netherlands. Now, why those countries, you may ask? Because together they account for almost half of the EU budget revenue. And you really can't have a four-nation bloc accounting for most of this revenue when you have 17 nations. Something's incredibly wrong when 13 countries are not pulling their weight. If, in fact, there was a Eurobond, then everything would at least, at a bare minimum, be propped up, for lack of a better word, and it would create some degree of stability where you wouldn't have to have these press conferences with the president of the European Bank and all these other people engaging in political theater, when in fact investors look at this at first and they think, well, this is nice, they're actually trying to do something, but after a couple days when nothing happens, investors, foreign direct investors and businesses have to look at this and say, these fellows and ladies are doing absolutely nothing to stop the core problems that have led to this. I have no confidence in investment in foreign debt in one of these countries. I have no confidence in investing in a project because I don't have any confidence in the structural stability of the governments or the EU. Greece's warning about leaving the EU at the beginning of the year should be looked at as a indicator that unless something is done, you're going to have more than Greece leave. You actually may have some of the more stable countries leave by just simply walking away from this mess. They can't keep to take these piecemeal actions. The voters are not going to tolerate it. It's going to begin to cause political pressure at home for some of these leaders, more so than getting involved in a organized bond issue. Because at least the organized bond issue would end this mess once and for all. But the piecemeal actions where it's a billion here, a billion there, people see that. When I say people, I mean the voters in Germany, France, and these other countries. They see this and they think to themselves, my goodness, we're bailing them out again. We're pumping more money into this. We're throwing money down a hole. If it was an organized bond issue, a Eurobond, I don't believe that you're going to have the type of problems you're having right now. I'm saying this, and I'm not sitting in Angela Merkel's seat, nor would I want to sit in her seat, but I will tell you this. I think she's completely wrong. Although I do understand why the Germans don't want to continue to throw money at this, they also can't keep to block the inevitable. This has been the Thompson Cast. I am Mel Thompson.